All new at 6 o'clock, Barbara Lee hits the 100-day mark as Oakland's mayor, and some neighbors say they're already seeing a change.
He's very connected to community, and I think that's extremely important.
We'll meet local business owners giving the mayor good reviews so far, and the areas they say need some serious improvements. Plus, seniors in a North Bay mobile home park fighting to own land they already paid for.
Can you honestly say that this is good faith negotiations?
How they took their complaints directly to city leaders, and what's next in the negotiations. And a luxury home furnishing retailer takes on one of the Bay Area's wealthiest towns.
Nobody likes an empty storefront. That's not good for anybody.
The contentious renovation plan that comes down to a sense of taste. And later,
We're not getting any younger.
we'll hear from hopeful Powerball players already visualizing their $850 million jackpot.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Good evening. Let's start in Oakland, where Mayor Barbara Lee's vision for the city is starting to take shape. It's been 100 days since Lee was sworn in. She took the reins at City Hall just a few months after wrapping up nearly 3 decades of representing Oakland in Congress. Lee won an April special election to replace former Mayor Shang Tao, who was recalled last November. Our Kara St. Cyr spoke with some Oakland business owners to get their take on the mayor's efforts so far.
I plan to immediately review areas of concern.
Barbara Lee kicked off her inauguration speech with a promise to improve the lives of the people of Oakland.
I was heavily in a grassroots effort to get her in that seat.
100 days in, and Derek Johnson, the owner of the Home of Chicken and Waffles, says he sees a change.
She's very connected to community, and I think that's extremely important, right? She engages with community, she patronizes our businesses.
Supporting small businesses was one item on Lee's 10-point plan. Earlier this month, she updated the city's permitting process to streamline some of the red tape, a longtime headache for new business owners. For Derek, that small step equals big change.
And I think the residents like myself and business owners like myself are happy to see people coming back to Oakland.
While happy with business, Derek feels public safety is still a significant issue. Charles Blades, a barbershop owner, feels the same way.
As a whole, you know, each city's struggling in their own sense. But for us being better, city being better, driving, you know, create jobs, have things to do in the city, make sure the city's safe.
President Trump recently called out Oakland for its crime and suggested he may send in the National Guard. Lee told us Trump's claims unfairly characterize the city.
I think it's important that the rest of the country understand the truth, the facts, and that what he has said is not accurate. He doesn't understand Oakland. He doesn't know what's going on here.
Data released by the city shows that crime is down from this time last year. Homicides dipped 21%, and car theft is down 45%. While it's a trend that started before Lee took office, police and city leaders credit her continued support of the ceasefire program.
We have many challenges still, but we're all working on them together.
While 100 days is only the beginning of Lee's tenure, Johnson gives the new mayor high marks.
Well, A for effort and high B for execution.
And remains hopeful that Oakland will only get better.
One of Lee's first acts as mayor was signing off on a budget that closed a roughly $260 million deficit. But those negotiations started long before she took office. And just yesterday, Mayor Lee unveiled her 5-point plan to address homelessness in Oakland. It includes deploying outreach workers to provide services to the unhoused and building more permanent housing. Supporters believe that this may be what Oakland needs to get unhoused people off the street for good. However, we spoke with one formerly unhoused person who says the city needs to think about those who were most impacted by the plan.
We have watched sweep after sweep happen for the past 8 years and watched countless lives be impacted so negatively, and the impacts that it has on your health, both mental and physical.
The city is creating an Office of Homelessness Solutions with funding from the Measure W sales tax to oversee the execution of the mayor's plan. Last week, we brought you the story of a group of low-income seniors in Novato who are trying to buy the mobile home park from the city. But how the city ended up owning the property in the first place has a lot of people crying foul. And then last night, they took their complaints directly to the powers that be. And our John Ramos was there.
Imagine for a moment you're a teenager buying your first car and your parents have to co-sign the loan. But after it's all paid off, your parents keep the car and tell you you now have to pay them for it as well. That's kind of what the mobile home residents think the city of Novato is doing. From the street, just about everything indicates the Marin Valley Mobile Country Club to be private property, but it's not. The 319-unit mobile home complex is officially owned by the city of Novato. When the residents tried to buy the land in 1997, somehow the city, which co-signed the loan, ended up as the only name on the documents. For more than 20 years, Gloria Gilbert's monthly payment has gone toward buying property for the city. Was it your understanding that the people here were going to eventually own this property?
Yes. And I was involved in the effort back in the late 90s, early 2000s to get the city to sell the park to us, and they refused to do it.
City staff says they can find no documents that show the property would transfer to the residents, while at the same time admitting that the city has paid nothing to acquire the land. On Tuesday night, the residents took their frustrations to the city council.
Residents have paid for everything since 1997, including close to $18 million in loans and bonds and interests, with the understanding that the land would ultimately be ours in 2027.
We recognize that we need to be responsible for our own future and not rely on a handshake agreement. We cannot rely on the city to keep our best interests as a priority.
The issue was not on the council's agenda, so they could only sit and listen, but they did talk about it at a meeting 2 years earlier when the residents were again trying to negotiate a purchase from the city. At the meeting, Councilmember Pat Oakland, who was mayor at the time of the original sale in 1997, suggested that they consider transferring ownership to the park residents.
Transferring ownership, I can't agree with that. From a legal standpoint, I think that could be considered a gift of public funds. I can't imagine how the rest of the community would feel if we transferred ownership.
There's no gift of public funds because not a penny of public funds has been put into the ownership of Marin Valley.
Nevertheless, the park residents have accepted the situation and are working to buy the property for a second time, this time offering the city $20 million. But the city has refused. Their appraisal lists the value of the property at $26 million, and they say they will not accept less than that.
Can you honestly say that this is good faith negotiations? So much work went into putting that proposal for your consideration.
Take the $20 million. Everyone wins. Have the attorneys paper it up, and you can get back to city business.
It seems like the residents have every reason to be angry, but instead of shouting, they ended the meeting with a song.
We were promised when the loan was paid, the park would be our own. Marin Valley, that's our home. That's our home.
The residents are afraid that the city could sell the park to a private operator, potentially driving up rent. So they have now upped their offer to $23.5 million, which the city is set to discuss in closed session on September 9th. Number of evacuation warnings have been lifted in Napa County as fire crews start to get a better handle on the Picket Fire. CAL FIRE says the fire hasn't grown and they expect it to stay within containment lines. The weather conditions are working in their favor with the help of the marine layer overnight. The fire is now 29% contained. Fire officials hope they will soon be able to lift the remaining evacuation orders and warnings. A community in mourning after a shooting at a Catholic school in Minneapolis this morning left 2 children dead and 17 others injured. Law enforcement say the 23-year-old alleged gunman, Robin Westman, stood outside the church and fired a rifle through the windows. just as Mass was beginning to celebrate the new school year. An 8-year-old and a 10-year-old were killed while they sat in the pews. 14 children and 3 adults were injured. At least 7 of the victims are in critical condition. Weston, who is in 5th grade, describes what he saw.
The first one, I was like, what is that? I thought it was just something. Then when I heard it again, I just ran under the pew. And then I covered my head. My friend Victor, saved me, though, because he laid on top of me, but he got hit.
Imagine that. Now, police say the shooter died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound behind the church. They're still investigating a motive for this shooting, but sources tell CBS News the gunman was a former student. We'll have the latest on the shooting tonight on the CBS Evening News, live from Minneapolis. That's at 6:30, right after this newscast. And still ahead here at 6, the legal ruling that just cleared the way for the special election to redraw California's congressional maps and when you can expect your ballot in the mail. Plus, it's a matter of design taste that's pitting an affluent community against a luxury retailer. Why the plan to redesign a storefront is dividing neighbors.
We don't need another Restoration Hardware. We don't need another large mega store. The town could benefit just from being its own unique character that it has been for the last 200 years.
The California Supreme Court shot down a second attempt from state Republicans to block the Democrats' redistricting efforts. The lawsuit argued that the ballot measure violated the state constitution, but the Supreme Court quickly dismissed the suit in a one-sentence ruling. Now, this clears the way for a November special election in which California voters will decide if they should give lawmakers the power to redraw the congressional maps. This proposed new map on the right could give Democrats 5 more House seats. Democratic leaders say it will help level the playing field after Texas moved to redraw new maps in their state in favor of Republicans. And the California Secretary of State just unveiled the timeline for that special election. So here are the most important dates. On October 6th, all active registered voters across the state will receive their vote-by-mail ballots in packets. Drop-off locations open the next day. Early voting centers open a couple weeks later on October 25th. Election Day, November 4th. One of the Bay Area's wealthiest communities is locked in a battle with a high-end home furnishings retailer over the design of a potential new storefront. We're talking about RH, formerly known as Restoration Hardware, wants to move into a set of vacant storefronts in Los Gatos. The company wants to take what you see on the left and make it look like these renderings on the right. But town officials are not happy with this plan. And to some, it might sound like a pretty petty fight over aesthetics, but some neighbors are just worried it would change the character of downtown. Our Katie Nielsen breaks down this conflict.
It's not even a historical building. It's actually built in the 90s.
This is the site of a proposed RH flagship store with a gallery and restaurant. RH, of course, being the luxury home furnishings company formerly known as Restoration Hardware.
This has been a vacant corner. Nobody likes an empty storefront. That's not good for anybody.
Jennifer Lynn is not only a Los Gatos resident, but also the CEO of the town's Chamber of Commerce, representing the area's business owners. She says there's a lot of excitement around RH, taking over a 16,000 square foot building that used to be home to a Gap and Gap Kids, plus a small restaurant.
This flagship concept is a proven track record of drawing people from all over the region.
But that very concept is what's causing the controversy, especially with the Planning Commission, which has received recommendations from town stakeholders to reject the plans. The renderings show RH wants to combine multiple storefronts into one unified facade, but memos from the Community Development Director and the Historic Preservation Committee say they don't like the design. It doesn't fit in with the rest of the downtown buildings. But RH fired back in a letter saying their design galleries are bespoke design destinations, and they refuse to make any changes to the plans. And it's clear from the letter that the company values its own standing as a, quote, curator of design, taste, and style in the luxury lifestyle market.
They are very much about aesthetics and design, so they are very much putting a lot of an intention towards making this fit into our town's personality and culture.
But for people like Beth Bradford, who was born and raised here, the issue isn't as much the design as what it represents.
We don't need another Restoration Hardware. We don't need another large mega store. People can go to any town and go to those. And the town could benefit just from being its own unique character that it has been for the last 200 years.
Change is hard for anybody, and we understand that. Change is never easy, and we don't want to be static. Economic vitality relies on being progressive and thinking proactively and planning for the future.
The town council still has to vote on all of the plans, and if it does get approved, construction could start right away. The idea would be to have it open by the end of next year.
So the Chamber of Commerce says RH flagship locations typically generate over $10 million in annual revenue. So when it comes to the town's potential sales tax income, there's a lot of money at stake here. So tonight, the Planning Commission is expected to make a recommendation to the town council, which then has the final say. All right, Paul.
I think you could bottle and sell today's weather, which was pretty much perfect for late August. Just a little hint of that marine cloud cover at the Golden Gate. We're going to see the fog reforming, but temperatures tomorrow very similar to where we were today, a mix of 60s, 70s, and 80s. There is some heat right around the corner. Details on that Labor Day weekend forecast coming up.
Oh boy, get ready. Happening tonight. The Powerball jackpot is up to $850 million. Have you bought your ticket yet? If you haven't, you still have time. The drawing for the game's 6th largest prize in history is at 8 tonight. So we headed out to Oak Park Liquor in Pleasant Hill to ask customers what they would do if they hit it big.
What would I do?
Yes.
Give money to my poor relatives.
We have a van that we travel in. It would be nice to do more trips.
Gotcha.
See the U.S. We're not getting any younger.
There you go. The odds of winning the entire jackpot are about 1 in 292 million. But there's still that one person that could win it. And my sources tell me Paul Hagen has one ticket.
I did buy a ticket.
A ticket.
Which is like something I do maybe once or twice a year.
Yeah, you were just inspired because of the odds.
Happened to be at the store and happened to have $2 American in my pocket.
Where do you store that ticket? In your car, in the garage?
It's probably in the pocket
desk?
of the jeans I was wearing whenever I was there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
I'll find it if
Oh,
the
gosh.
numbers match.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
and then
well,
I'll leave a
good luck.
Paul-shaped hole in that door on my way out.
Yeah, you're out of here.
Yeah, like the
Okay.
Kool-Aid man.
Yeah,
Let's take a look.
See you tomorrow, Paul.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll be here. One in 292 million. Yeah. Let's take a look at the big picture pattern. Another day of pop-up showers and thunderstorms. Not as many in the mountains of Northern California and the High Sierra as compared to the past couple of days, but there still were some of those that bubbled up during the warmth of the afternoon, and they included more cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. So once again, we saw kind of simultaneous threats of flash flooding, which is a possibility when you get too much rain in a short period of time, especially in mountainous terrain and over burn scars, but also a red flag warning farther to the north because the cloud-to-ground lightning strikes, if they're not accompanied by enough rainfall, can lead to the development of new fires, and the winds produced by the storms can then fan the flames. So we're going to have to watch for any holdover fires over the course of the next several days, just in case something is smoldering out there. Now, the Futurecast radar simulation shows a few more showers and storms bubbling up tomorrow, but not as many, and the moisture does get pushed farther off to the east. The same weather pattern, the same air mass is going to suppress the development of additional showers and thunderstorms as we head through the rest of the week, is also going to be warming up our temperatures. It's another heat dome, or at least close to a heat dome, very warm dome that's going to be setting up and boosting temperatures. Today's pattern across the state was warm but not hot. Contrast that to Saturday's pattern, and the heat is going to intensify, especially through the Central Valley, but some of that is going to edge towards the Bay Area, where our temperatures are going to be running about 5 to 7 degrees above average as we head through the first couple days of Labor Day weekend. But that heat isn't here yet. It's pleasant out there this evening. A nice look towards downtown San Francisco, where the temperature is still 68 degrees. Managed to make it up into the low 70s, 71 in the city for only the 9th time this year, this summer, that we hit at least 70 degrees in San Francisco. Other temperatures still mostly in the 70s, but hey, that's not bad for late August, down below 80 degrees already in Concord, and it's still another hour and a half before the sun actually goes down. Let's take a look at the fog as we head through the rest of tonight. We'll switch over to the local map, and while we don't see much of it out there right now, there's going to be some of it redeveloping at the coast and then spreading across the bay. Some push into the inland valleys like we saw this morning, but like we saw this morning, it won't take long once the sun comes up for that fog to start to retreat. It will make it back to around the bay by mid-morning, and it will retreat to the coast and even pull away from the coast during the afternoon. The same pattern is going to repeat itself over the next few days. The first 2/3 of Labor Day weekend should bring more sunshine for the coast, just not significantly warmer temperatures. So pretty close to normal tomorrow. Everybody within a degree or two of average. 83 in San Jose, up to the mid to upper 80s for Los Gatos and Morgan Hill. East of the Oakland Hills, a mix of 80s and some low 90s on the map for the first time in a few days. 92 in Antioch, 91 degrees in Fairfield. A mix of 70s and 80s around the Bay with close to 70-degree highs once again in San Francisco. Still 60s at the coast and the North Bay. Just a couple more degrees below average. A mix of 70s and 80s on the map by tomorrow afternoon. The onshore breeze is still going to be a factor. Let's track that for the next couple of days. That's going to be one of the factors keeping our temperatures close to normal as we head through the day tomorrow. But the strongest gusts mostly in the 20 to 25 mile an hour range. That begins to let down a little bit on Friday. So temperatures are going to warm up, but the heat risk is going to be in the low category tomorrow, still in low category on Friday, and even the hottest day on Saturday, we just see some splotches of moderate heat risk. So it's not a major concern as we head into Labor Day weekend, but still, any outdoor plans, make sure that you're staying safe in those temperatures inland that are going to reach up into the low to mid 90s both Saturday and Sunday. But then we're right back to near normal temperatures for the first days of September. And September is going to be a return of a little bit more of that morning fog. Around the Bay, it'll be morning fog giving way to afternoon sunshine with near normal temperatures bayside. And at the coast, after you do see at least afternoon clearing for the next several days, you're going to be back into the fog, beginning Labor Day and continuing on Tuesday and Wednesday. Jules?
But talk about a very mild summer for the East
Yeah,
Bay.
and so-
Usually we're in triple digit, you know what.
Yeah, but we had that kind of weather all the way into like mid-October last year. So
Okay, that's true.
We're not quite done
Hold
just
off. Oh,
yet.
gosh. Okay.
Yeah, but so far so good.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, when we come back, this was definitely not on the delivery route. How this Frito-Lay truck ended up down the cliffside near a river. A salty situation up to our north. Crews are now working to recover a Frito-Lay delivery truck that fell about 150 feet down a rugged river canyon. Look at this. You can see the truck somehow landed upright and the driver escaped with only minor injuries. This was in Crescent City near the Oregon border. It happened yesterday afternoon just off of Route 199. Highway was backed up for hours, but officials say all lanes are now open. Officers still investigating exactly what caused this crash. Hey, it was just laying out. All right, CBS EV News is next on KPIX. Local news on our streaming service. See you right back here at 7 o'clock with more local news. See you then.